one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Trustee Blower.
Yes.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Young.
Public participation. Individuals who wish to address the board must speak from the podium and to state their name and address for the record. Points should be made clearly and concisely within the 5-minute limit. No one's time may be yielded to another. Comments should be directed to the board with courtesy and respect. Any responses from the board will be delivered in like kind. So Tom, yes, you are the one. You're the chosen.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tom Reininger. Address is 3223 Rocky Hill Drive. And the topic I wish to address this evening is police department security. The Board of Trustees has been very open to our police department creating new initiatives to provide the best coverage and protection for the citizens of our township. The past few months, there have been approval for the installation of block surveillance cameras, implementation of drone technology, implementation of the K9 program, and enhanced radio and camera technology. All of this leads us to have a department that can rise to the challenges of modern day proactive police work. I believe the trustees now have an obligation to look at how to provide safety and security for the operation of the law enforcement component of the township. Presently, access to the police department and the administrative offices is through a ring camera and electric door lock. This requires a receptionist for the police department to come to the door to greet a visitor who is not recognized. It is not easily known. There are visitors that come into the building for any number of reasons: vendors, general public, and even just to use the restrooms. And in doing so, literally pass through the police department spaces. The fact that a receptionist must leave her workstation, come to the door, inquire of an unknown visitor their business, does interrupt her routine support of the police department functions. It also makes her the first line of defense in the event of a difficult situation. The objective of my ask tonight is to be proactive and not reactive. I believe that we would quickly expend whatever resources necessary to amend this situation if someone was injured doing the simple task or operation of the police department was compromised. However, when it comes to security and safety of the personnel in the whole administration building, and in particular the police department, this function is wholly inadequate. As an alternative, I suggest to install partitioning in such a way that the receptionist can control who comes into the police department without leaving her desk. Challenges, certainly. There will be a cost for partitions, for modifying the HVAC to accommodate an enclosed space, and electrical work for door access. A less secure approach would be just to install a counter system with a passage gate and a knee wall. Regardless of which approach is taken, I believe there's an obligation by the trustees to enhance the perimeter security of the police department, offices, and not only for the safety of those employees, but for the operation of all of the administrative offices. Thank you very much.
I think your point is well taken, and I will ideas you might have. I have concern about the glass that's right outside the police office. That's kind of makes it easy.
Totally.
And there was a former trustee that said in my other job, and in my other job, that kind of work is what I do. So at least on a consulting side, I can bring plenty to that. So, and I think it's something that should be done.
I agree.
Right.
Thank you.
But we'll look into that, and, Chief had another commitment tonight,
Yes, I
but,
know.
but I'll talk to him about it.
I did talk to the chief before, sure I didn't compromise anything he had on his plate, so,
Yeah, and frankly, I think at a minimum, we can put a camera there where the administration, portion of the department can at least see who's there and at least communicate with them. That's
Before
easy.
they come out.
That's easy.
and the problem was, when I came the other day, the receptionist didn't know me, so she had to come to the door.
Mhm.
And I think, perhaps the door can be unlocked totally electrically, but if you don't know somebody, that's when you have the biggest risk. Correct.
For sure.
It's a new world, you
Yep.
know, and people are being attacked for, it was like the firefighters out there in Utah. You know, starts a fire, they come and respond, he starts shooting them. I mean, there's a lot of crazies out there. They've always been out there, but seem to be crazier.
Better to be proactive.
Okay, very good. Okay, procedural actions. Move to adoption of motion number 25-073 to dispense the reading of the minutes from the June 5th, 2025 meeting, regular meeting, and the June 19th, 2025 work session. I need a second.
Second,
Any discussion? Roll call?
Trustee McGurran,
yes?
trustee Blower,
Yes.
trustee Young,
Yes, ma'am. Move the adoption of motion 25-074 to approve the minutes of the June 5th, 2025 regular meeting. I need a second. Second. Any discussion? Roll call?
trustee McGurran,
Yes?
trustee Blower,
Yes.
trustee Young,
Yes, ma'am. Move the adoption of motion 25-075 to approve the minutes for the June 19th, 2025 work session. Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
trustee McGurran,
Yes?
trustee Blower,
Yes.
trustee Young.
Yes, ma'am. Reports, fiscal officer.
Give me a second, I'm writing my name. I'll be right with it. Okay, I am here. Thank you all. It's nice to see everybody this evening. As normal, the first meeting of a new month, I have for you to review and to sign the certifications of purchase orders and checks written since the last meeting. I have in front of you some reporting. Due to my Microsoft Office crash, I can't export the receipts like I did in the past. So you have something now called a receipt listing. It's a little different to look at, but it's basically the same information. So those will be the receipts that were received or the revenue coming in for the month of June. That'll be there for you to look at. Under your management reports for June 2025, there's a revenue summary and a fund summary. Please keep in mind that we're 52% through the year at this point. And then there's the more comprehensive appropriation summary for June 30th, and that is by line item by department. And again, 52% through the year. And then I have for you to review and to sign the appropriations supplemental report as of June 30. And again, this is just how I am moving money within buckets, within departments. So that is for you to look at and sign off on. I also have for you to review and to sign the bank reconciliation for June 2025. Update on our hybrid checking account situation. There is, I'm pretty sure it's got the blue banner on it this time. Basically, at the same point in time last year, we had collected $6,300 in interest. And as of June this year, we have 11,000. So we have an 80% increase in our interest earned because we combined those two accounts. So that's doing rather well for us. And then I have for you the First Financial Bank credit card attestation for the month of May, and that needs President Young's signature, but you all free to take a look at that. And then I need to discuss, initially, we had tentatively scheduled the temporary budget hearing for tonight, because that must be done by, statutorily, it's July 15th. It's supposed to be adopted by the board. Unfortunately, I forgot about that little pesky item that it has to be advertised 10 days before the hearing. And at the time I realized it, I was sitting on about day 8, so it was too late to do it for this meeting. So we will be doing it for the July 17th meeting, unless any of you feel compelled to move the meeting to the 15th. All it does is it puts us in compliance, but I will tell you, as former budget commission person for the county, if someone turned it in 2 days after the fact, that was fine, because they are not scheduled to approve the budgets until August 4th. So they want a mid-July-ish. So we certainly can do the budget hearing on the 17th. But what I need from the trustees is, in April of this year, there was legislation changing our requirement on running an ad in the newspaper. We can now run it on our website and in our social media and post it in that manner, which saves us money. If that's the case, I have to have a notice posted by the 7th of this month stating that we will be doing the hearing on the 17th. And that would give me a little more opportunity to get the budget complete, because my Microsoft Office crashed in the time that I was working on the budget. So I kind of need Excel files and things to make it go smoother. I will say I want to thank Administrator Kyle for lending me her laptop, because I was able to download all of my files onto an external hard drive, so I can operate. It's not pretty, it's cumbersome, but I can get stuff done. So I need to know from the board, are we good having the budget hearing on the 17th? And if so, are we also good with me just posting it on, giving it to Administrator Kyle to post on our website and on our social media pages? That, just the hearing notice, it used to run in the Journal and it costs us a couple $100 to publish it.
Oh, that's on the work session meeting?
Yeah, it'll be during the work session, which will actually give us time to actually discuss the temporary budget. So, you're okay? Are you all okay with me no longer publishing it in the Journal and just publishing it? We are good as of April of this year statutorily to do so.
No one needs a journal anyway.
Well, there's an option to just put it in the online version only. But still, there's a cost to it. So
Sure.
I'd rather just publish it on our,
I agree.
okay, I will do that, and we will move forward for the budget hearing on the 17th.
Heard a little bit of.
Yeah.
Fair.
I mean, the ship has sailed. I'm not being able to do it tonight, so.
All right, purpose to approve the bills. Motion to adopt motion 25-078. Pay the bills it present through the fiscal officer certification and purchase order. I need a second. Second. Roll call. Oh, discussion. Roll call.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes.
Trustee Blower?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes, ma'am. Administration.
Good evening. First, under my report is to let the board know I am beginning to work on the residential solid waste and recycling contract. The current 5-year contract expires March 31st of 2026. It is a rather cumbersome project to define the scope of the services, put the RFP out for bids, accept the bids, and all of that. So just to make sure that we're in front of everything, I've gone on ahead and put that on my to-do list. Secondly, in front of you is a nuisances update. I did drive by the demo project earlier today. The structure itself is down. It appears as though they're beginning to address the removal of the basement, which is a requirement of the Butler County Land Bank, that basements, slabs, things like that are removed. So they're getting close, it appears, to having that project finished. And finally, for the board's consideration are a total of 4 resolutions, 3 of which have to do with getting rid of unnecessary items, mainly from the police department. The first resolution is to dispose of items that are obsolete. The second resolution is to, or no, it's the first one. The first one is to put items on gov deals for sale. The second resolution is to dispose of unnecessary items. And the third resolution is to donate one particular item from the police department, which is an old fingerprint, not scanning, but it's fingerprint capturing desk. And finally, there's a nuisance abatement resolution. When I sent it out earlier, there were 4 properties. Trustee McGurn drove by each of them today and determined that the one on Fiona has been taken care of by the owner. So it's down to 3 properties for your consideration to put into the nuisance abatement process. That's all that replenishment has.
Purpose, section 505-10 of the Ohio Revised Code provides for the Board of Trustees may by resolution sell property at an online internet sale. Dispose of donated items upon finding it is not needed for the public use. Is obsolete or unfit for the use of which it is acquired. The following resolutions declare such property for sale, dispose, or donation. Move for the adoption resolution 25-040, declaring that certain property obsolete and no longer needed for the purpose of public use, authorizing the online sale of such property, ordering publication and notice of the authorizing the township administrator to execute the requiring documents. I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. The one thing you said about fingerprints, is there any storage in that? Is there any, it's just a
wood.
desk?
It's a wood desk.
Okay.
It's very.
Roll call.
Okay. Gotcha.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Blower.
Yes.
Trustee Young.
Yes, ma'am. Move for the adoption resolution 2025-041, declaring a certain township inventory items no longer needed for public use, obsolete, unfit, or use acquired having no value, and authorizing disposal or salvage thereof. I need a motion. Second motion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Blower.
Yes.
Trustee Young.
Yes, ma'am. Move for the adoption resolution number 2025-042, declaring that certain township inventory items no longer needed for public use, obsolete, or unfit for use acquired, and authorizing donation to any eligible unfit organization, nonprofit, organization. I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Blower.
Yes.
Trustee Young.
Yes, ma'am. Purpose of the township administrator has provided evidence of the nuisance violations to exited properties of Cardinal Avenue, Hamilton Glen Road, and Wren Avenue. This resolution declares these properties to be a nuisance and orders for the abatement. Move for the adoption resolution 2025-043, declaring nuisance of executive vegetation and other accumulated debris on Cardinal Avenue, 2020-50 Hamilton Glen Road, and 2188 Wren Avenue. I need a second for the motion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Blower.
Yes.
Trustee Young.
Yes, ma'am. Fire department.
Unless see, it's a extremely busy month. Of course, again, I've called for service. We had multiple record fires this month. Related to here to this week. The third page, they use the 3-year comparison. last couple of years. I think we're over 100 runs above this year, this time last year, number wise. Just keep going. Inspections this month. 9 new inspections were completed, 4 re-inspections were done, total of 13. So it's 11 violation. So there's to meet. Departments to get those up to. A couple of grant updates. Friday, I went to a luncheon at the Cincinnati Tool Bank. We received a grant from the Back to Heroes Rumble Operation Open Arm. It's a community initiative that provides financial assistance as requested by fire, police, and EMS agencies in the tri-state area. It's funded through various methods, including support sponsors, private donations, and grants given to them from major partners or grantors of the Back to Heroes. We received over $3,000 worth of Milwaukee tools for our engines. We received 2 K-saws, circular saws, 2 sawzalls, an impact wrench, and an oscillating tool. All these items were purchased by them for us. We didn't have to go buy the stuff. They bought it, presented it to us at this lunch. And this was no money out of my pocket. There's not mentioning involved. And I just got an email yesterday. We received $1,200 from the state of Ohio for the EMS grant. That's also a non-matching grant. We get it every year. Just have to apply for it. It'll buy EMS supplies and equipment. They reimburse us after we submit proof of purchase, whatever items we. Items for legislation. First one is resolution to declare necessity of the new 6.5 mil fire and EMS levy to get this moving forward, so we get this on the ballot in November. And the second one is to amend the staffing level and pay rate summary, allow for adjustments. Fire department.
How's things been going with the committee? Fire levy committee.
So positive. We haven't had many for a couple weeks. Schedule another one after we get this done tonight. Everything's official. We can start.
I realize several months out yet, but we really got like 4 months to educate the public, and that's not a whole lot of time.
The committee needs the final resolutions to be in place before they could really do anything. They've already secured a good deal of funding for the committee, so it's a good committee.
$10,000.
So.
6:30. Consideration for legislation. Purpose. At resolution 25-033, in the effort to keep the fire department in fully efficient, self-sufficient, and the board declared the necessity of a 6.5 mil fire and EMS levy. All the county auditor provided necessary certification. The estimated property tax value dated June 2010. June 10th, 2020. The prosecutor prepared for the following resolution to be received to the tax of placing the levy on November general election ballot. Move for the adoption of resolution 25-044, determining the proceeds for submitting of the question, the tax levy to the fire protection and emergency medical services. I need a second.
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Trustee McGurran,
Yes.
trustee Blower,
Yes.
trustee Young,
Yes, ma'am. Purpose, staffing level and pay rate summary must be adjusted to allow for adjustments in the fire department. The following resolution is necessary to enact and reflect those changes. Move the adoption of resolution 2025-045, amending staffing levels and pay rates to a fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025. I need a second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll.
Trustee McGurran.
Yes.
Trustee Blower.
Yes.
Trustee Young.
Yes, ma'am. Road Department.
Forget one thing in my, list of personnel updates. Lieutenant Meyer successfully passed his fire emergency service instructor class. Ended, last couple of months. Congratulations. Thanks to Paul for loaning us your mower. Paul. Miss Denton. Thank you.
Department, please.
A couple things. Black Road did a couple new paving job. Kind of the same problem, but it's two different. I can break. Basically, they pave a little wider than the pavement.
And there's no base underneath it.
There's no base underneath. Crack off. Then there was a contractor up there. Right along. And new road, 90 degree. The breaking unit. So county shut contractor down. Jurgensen, who did the paving, they were trying to blame it all on contractor, and I told them, look at the pictures, because I took pictures, sent it to the boss. The same issue, but two different. We had a meeting yesterday, they're going to shut down the contractor, so. Have any questions on that? The other thing, maybe connect here. Two parts to that. And the only street that we would be paying for, also applying for the CDBG grant, the only paving grant out there, and income-based streets for that are very limited. But I have 8 streets: Main, Cross, Maiden, Sunshine, Larry, Summer, Arrow, and Paul. All 8 streets total about 3/4 of a mile. Not a lot, even though if we don't get the grant, we won't. File that grant in August.
See what happens.
The other thing, we're also going to try and replace top 10. That's not a very long street at all. But I don't have any prices on the ad. I'm contacting Westchester and price on it. Update you on that when I have it. Couple other things we got going on, got a sinkhole and a catch basin again. That's also on Foxton. We have the Fenton Road culvert job, we have a driveway culvert. Have probably 3 to 4 weeks worth of trees back along. We have another sump line problem where backing up in their basement. Line's closed. Lateral that runs along the road, responsibility. And there's a tree planted right on top of it. Something that really gets under my skin. But I really think we should think about new subdivisions in the future. Anybody planting a tree in the right of way, no, still legal, there has to be a permit. Has that problem out there. I know that's what's this problem. Tree digger. Because they plant a tree. I would never. So it's something in the future to think about. I'd like to see us stop that.
How many places is that throughout the township that that's the case?
All of Ross Trails, all of Black Road.
Yep.
Anywhere we have sidewalk.
Was there already a resolution or anything in place that was supposed to stop that?
You have to put anything in the right. Have that problem.
So with the trees and Ross Trails, and I know there's a lot of them up, Longhorn and Rabina for that matter.
Where's that?
Were those placed in by the developer to your,
My knowledge,
No.
they're all put in by. Otherwise, they'd probably be in there.
not so sure. I mean, I don't know how
I
we
don't
find
know.
out, but I'm not sure.
And
So they were done in uniform. Yeah. I lived there, so I watched them. I just don't know who was responsible for it.
well, that would be a place to start. So homeowners do it all. This homeowner, they have no problem getting rid of it. Damage is already. Neighbor's place.
So who bears the responsibility, the financial responsibility for that? I mean, if that was a,
Self-inflicted
yeah,
versus Mother Nature or something of that.
The owner is. It created another hole. All these jobs, all hand digging, all. Time consuming. Somebody.
So on the sump pumps itself, do they have a storm sewer going through there and they aren't tapped into that?
It's not tapped in. Sump lines run from catch basin to catch.
See, when I built my house, I have a septic tank and I had to run my sump pump out to my septic tank. And
They,
leach it out
they
that one.
don't let you run your pump. You usually tie them in, tied in for catch basin.
you had to make a guess or a suggestion of where to start to find out who would bear financial responsibility for that. Where would you say to start?
I can ask the property owner. Honestly, John.
Okay.
Pipe is our responsibility.
But that if damage was caused by an outside source, that may shift that responsibility.
You still have to dig it.
Okay. That's something we can, do you have a way to check on that? That would probably be, I don't know if that's whoever the developer was in Ross Trails. We should probably find that out before we throw too many thousands of dollars in it.
Fix it or we don't.
How quickly do you have to fix it?
Well,
Tomorrow or? I'm not being sarcastic. I mean,
no,
is
we're
it,
going to start on it.
okay.
So on Black,
Because it is an issue.
Think we can find that out that quick? Who planted those trees there?
I can try.
Okay,
I'll find out.
Oh,
who
I'd ask.
planted- I'll find out who planted this particular.
okay,
No,
okay.
Can I ask a question before we move on? Paul, if you could give me sometime next week, a ballpark on what you think the paving is gonna run, just so I can put a number in the temporary budget. Doesn't have to be exact, doesn't have to be perfect. If it's high, that's fine. And if there's gonna be, if we have any cost on the CDBG, if it's like, do we have any like 80-20 or 50-50? If you could just ballpark it. That would be great. Thank you.
All the concrete curb, what do you, what's caused that to fail prematurely? I mean, 15, 20 years? I mean, that long? Not been there 15, 20?
Yeah. They finished it with country with back to the years later.
Right.
But it's literally falling apart. So, one way to fix it.
All of Fox Den or just that part where it kind of comes down to Ravine Holes?
Thank you, Paul. Police Department.
Our calls for service for this past month was 292. Calls. 88 business checks, 33 vacation checks, 160 extra patrol, 74 stops totaling in 155. Activity of 7. Paid on Theo Robbins and Theo passed the state peace officer examinations. So Robbins, PO back, have started training programs. PO Cameron, days of review training program. 2025 COPS grant to hire an additional full-time officer has been submitted. Currently in the final phase of planning on Nashville night out. Free food, a dog food, beef, drone, K9, and fire department demonstrations. Static displays for all. That will be at the check Facebook for updates. Okay. Department has been recertified in all groups. The Ohio Collaborative for 2025. Gil Cameron attended the advanced roadside impairment detection and training. Joe Dahl attended the blue and white training and advanced search and seizure writing and court. Joe Stovall attended the resource officer safety summit, child homicide investigation. All officers are continuing to work on CPT professional training for the sergeant. Bill continues to train with his K9 partner at the Shallow Creek Kennels. In our June community engagement events, total engagement reached 1,200. Events, Jones for Sheriff Golf Outing, Jones Cars Cops, Butler County Chiefs of Police Association meeting, Sundance Users Group, Respect for Law Camp graduation. And we have a drone report. The drone was used in 2025. It was also put up again that day. Same footprints. 7 crash. So a non-injury crash, so you can map out the location. Also, June 6th, community event, that was the cones and cars. Work to use it at the Violence call where they're attempting to locate. Eventually located. And major case update, the forgery case that was closed. Occurred in the city of Fairfield, victim was advised the case. And we had a burglary closure. All leads and evidence was exhausted. Suspect reported and her boyfriend were requested to take a polygraph, to which they closed. Assault of a handicapped individual. That the caretaker assaulted her. Investigation was founded caused by her falling. There. Had a theft of intellectual property, an individual who lives Boston works remotely. Report turned that he works for setting up data program that was easy accessible, possibly. Turned over coding and information and FBI And we had an assault. Victim stated she was running a vehicle on Herman Road. Investigation was done. It was found to be the victim. Multiple different suspects were identified, interviewed, found to be cocaine, and refused. That case was also made unfounded. For June, and now we have to adopt the motion 5079 to approve the hiring. Oh, I'm sorry. She would have
Okay,
Could you identify yourself for the record and for the folks out there?
I'm Detective Tom. Sitting in.
Appreciate you trying to speed it up.
all right. Consideration of the legislation, purpose, to approve the hiring of part-time officer Michael Limmer and auxiliary police officer Amy Humphrey. Move for the adoption motion 25-079 to approve the hiring of Michael Lemire at the position of part-time police officer at the rate of $28.39 an hour, and Amy Humphrey to the position of auxiliary police officer. I'm assuming at the same rate? Okay. These employments are subject to completion of all pre-employment testing and are in accordance to certain staffing summary and pay rate resolutions. I need a motion. Did I get one?
You need to make it.
You're making the motion. You need a second, sir.
Oh, I'm asking for a second. I'm sorry.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee McGurran,
Yes.
trustee Blower,
Yes.
trustee Young.
Yes, ma'am. Under the breath. I didn't hear. Okay, township business, old business. Venice mixed overlay district, next steps.
I think Administrator Kyle, last meeting, made a point of what Wendy Moeller with Compass had said. And I wrote up a letter, just a place to start for everybody to read, see what they think, critique, change, because that seems like the easiest and perhaps the only path to getting through to it. So giving you all that. Mark it up as much as you want. Let me know what you think. If we need to add to it or take away from it, I'm happy to do it. I mean, other than that, I don't personally have any other steps. If that step fails after if we decide to send a letter out, then I think we're kind of dead in the water there.
Yeah, I think if the people in the area don't want it to happen, then we should not progress it.
Agreed.
Anything else from the board?
Thank you for this draft, Russ.
Yep, you're welcome.
I have nothing.
Nothing from me.
New business. None from the administration, anything from the board?
Nothing from me.
From me.
Nothing from me. Announcements. Nothing from the administration, anything from the board?
Nothing.
Correspondence, nothing from the administration, anything from the board? Nope. Topics. July 17th, 2025 work session. 2026 tax budget hearing. Venice mixed use overlay district. Anything from the board?
Thanks.
All right, we're going to go into executive session, motion 25-080 to retire in executive session to discuss the employment, dismissal and discipline, promotion, demotion, and compensation for the public employee or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee. Unless public employee requests a public hearing in accordance with Ohio Revised Code section 121-22G1. Time of the going into the executive session is
6:45.
And I think you all.
You have a second? You need a second, sir?
I need a second. I'm bad at that, didn't I?
Okay.
I'll second.
Anything, any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee McGurran,
Yes.
trustee Blower,
Yes.
trustee Young.
Yes, ma'am. Now, thank you for your time.
Awesome. Y'all are there.